All right, friends. So, good evening, all of you. Today's agenda is topic number 9, Indian political thought. Specifically, we will be doing Buddhist political thought right now. So, let's get started with it. So, can you guys see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, then. Chalo. Start कर लीजिए sir.
Yes. Buddhist political thought, Gail Omwet and Kancha Ilayya both believe that Buddha can be regarded as political philosopher, but not in conventional sense, because he was not theorizing or philosophizing for the politics. Actually, many kings approached Buddha to understand meaning of good governance and the idea of interstate relations. So I am knowing the specific example of Kosal Raj Prasenjit, means king of Kosal Prasenjit. Buddhism is other worldly religion known as Protestantism of East because it has protested the Hinduism. It challenged the Brahmanical traditions like caste system. It can be considered as egalitarian tradition, socialist tradition, republican as well as rationalist. It also promoted deliberative democracy through organizing councils and debate within sanghas. It gives equal status to women, revolves around Dhamma. Uh, Buddhist literature consists of Jatakas which give guidelines for kingship. Other is the Ashokan edicts. It also talks about chakra and mandala. We shall study. Dhamma chakra means to win heart. Chakra not of chariot. That means in Hinduism it is written chakra or chakka or chariot of the Rath. But here chakra means to win. So Dhamma chakra means to win heart. And Hinduism means chakra means to win land. Idea of philosopher king should be knowledgeable persons, well aware of duties, devote for well-being of the people. Salient features. So with respect to origin of a state, Buddhism tells that because of fall of man's character, fall of man's corruption due to materialism, means it is linked to the institution of private property. Origin of king, whatever it is there. So we shall see actually origin of a state or kingship is also linked to origin institution of private property in Buddhism. Once private property come into existence, social conflicts started. Hence, people come together, entered into social contract to create the state. Where in the assembly of person, the noblest of all were elected as the king. So here, noblest of the all and elected. So they are referred as Mahasammat. Since they are elected by all, so that is also called means council, that is called republicanism. So what are the qualities? These philosopher types of king, rather we shall directly tell philosopher king. Wisdom, source of knowledge is there, and that knowledge brings morality, power brings corruption. So in Buddhism, Buddhism political thought, we see kings as having knowledge and which brings morality in the rule. While in Kautilya's thought or in Hinduist thought, we had seen that kings were wielding a lot of power, rather wielding all of the power. So that was about to bring the corruptions according to Buddhist political thought. Uh, Another thing is that in Buddhism, the king has no divine personality. I think if he is a human being, there was no requirement of king to come from Kshatriya Varna. So Buddhism favors republican tradition because it also does not support hereditary monarchy. In Buddhism, there is no need for king to be powerful like lion. King has to be gentle, liberal, noble, modest, and selfless. Upinder Kaur tells that political violence in her book Political Violence in Ancient India, 3 major sources to understand idea of kingship and statecraft. Ashwaghosa's Buddha Charitam has common with Hindu text. Ashwaghosa belongs to बहुश्रुतीय school presented Sudodhan as ideal king, benevolent, paternalistic. Sudodhan, who was Sudodhan? But he loved his son more than Dhamma. He kills enemies' pride with battle of virtue rather than pride. Mentions Buddha as Sarvata Siddha, represents Karuna, Nishchay, Parakram, Tejas, Atmavata. So they are such complicated terms that I am unable to explain all. But still it can be told that Buddha was having the qualities like Karuna, that means compassion, Nishchay means like determination, determinism, Prakram, that is means like valor, Tejas, that means full of aura, Atmavata, I can't explain it properly. Kingship is a dangerous delusion, for kingdom is charming yet full of danger. So means it is telling that kingship is dangerous delusion for kingdom. What is this? Like golden.
गौतम बुद्ध के पिता तो नहीं है.
I have, but I can't say.
He loved his son more than Dhamma. He used to love his son. Sudodhan, Sakya kingdom के जो राजा थे.
I too think so, but I can't tell it in a guaranteed manner. Can anybody confirm it?
Sudodhan was father of Gautam Buddha.
Okay. So here it is written: a kingship is dangerous delusion for kingdom, is charming yet full of dangers. Means for kingdom, kingship is a dangerous delusion because it is charming. Kingship is charming yet it is full of dangers. Means ना crown full of कांटों भरा ताज बोलते हैं ना उसको. Crown full of thorns, like golden castle in fire. Means it is golden castle, but it is always on fire. Food mixed with poison. It is food which is nourishing, but it is also with poison. Lotus pond filled with crocodile. So here we shall see the both kinds of things are present. Hence, rational king prefers to leave his job. Just like now, Plato had told that the best ruler will be who is reluctant to rule. So here also rational king prefers to leave his job. Peace and kingship is incompatible. If you will become if you will become king, so that will not be peace in your mind or a kind of thing. We can also observe these things that once a person become prime minister in India or the president of the US so they kind of think their personal life is compromised to a great extent. So in my personal consciousness, I have never seen a prime minister to go on leave whenever they were in the office. So neither the former one, earlier one, neither the present one. So we can infer that even today it is being seen as, and it is also it is charming yet full of dangers. So it is those kinds of things. Ashoka Vadanam, I think it is it a book? Yeah, Avadanam. Buddha is renowned, sir.
Sir, one thing, what do they want to convey by saying that rational king prefers to leave his job? What is it trying to justify?
Actually, I can't explain it proper context, but whatever I am inferring is that a rational king who is able to understand the things, who is able to visualize the things, who is able to read the things, will prefer to leave his job because there will not be one side that is positive side. There will be both sides. Means it will be full of danger. Though it is golden castle, but it is on fire. So it means that if he is rational enough, then he will try to, or he will prefer to leave the job. Can anybody make it more clear?
I think we can relate it with Gautam Buddha's story itself, right? वो खुद एक prince थे. He could have easily gone on to become a good king or something like that, but then he chose renunciation. वैसा कुछ. तो जो मतलब वो यही कहना चाह रहे हैं कि जो किंगशिप है, किंगशिप इज डिफिकल्ट जॉब, डेंजरस है वो, खुद के लिए भी एंड ओवरऑल सब कुछ। तो रैशनल पर्सन नहीं बनना चाहेगा किंग, ऐसा कुछ।
बस इसमें
Yeah.
एक चीज कंफ्यूज कर रही है कि अगर अ किंग विल लीव हिज जॉब तो फिर मतलब ये किंगडम कैसे स्टेबल रहेगा, मतलब ये बुद्धिस्ट पॉलिटिकल थॉट समझाना क्या चाह रहा है, मेरे को ये थोड़ा सा कंफ्यूज हो रहा है।
नहीं नहीं, इसीलिए तो आई थिंक बुद्धिस्ट या फिर जो इंडियन स्कूल ऑफ थॉट है, इनका क्रिटिसिज्म है कि ये पॉलिटिकल थॉट है ही नहीं, ये आर जस्ट स्पिरिचुअल थियोरीज।
इसको ऐसे रिलेट कर सकते हैं।
Yeah, his main focus was not to have a stable state. In Ashoka Vadanam, it is written that Buddha is a renouncer. Ashoka is better example of king addressed as Priyadasi Devanama Priye. Kings should serve humanity, promote toleration among different religions, forbid cruelty towards animals, send messengers of peace, follow policy of non-aggression towards neighbors. That is kind of like animal ethics, etc. With respect to animals, they are also focusing on the peaceful coexistence of the nation or states, which we shall find in Panchashil or Panchamrit of Modi. Promote toleration among different religions. So that is kind of tolerance, dialogue among religions of Bhikkhu Parekh, peaceful coexistence, no clash of civilization. King should serve humanity. So these are kinds of paternal despotism. Means they are despot, but yet they are paternal kinds of things because they consider their subjects as their children. In Jataka story, means Jatakas are who had got the salvation from the cycle of life and birth. Still, they prefer to be on this earth to help others achieve salvation. Yeah, so we can see that there is heterogeneous political discourse in Buddhism. So that's because we find both like contradictions. A Buddhist text overemphasize on compassion. They don't focus more on the political philosophy. Buddhism. Whenever there will be question anywhere on the republicanism, deliberative democracy, gender equality, or non-aggression towards neighbors, or animal ethics, or tolerance amongst religions, etc. kinds of things. So we can easily put these values there. In Agarna Sutta, it is written, greed, arrogance, lust, punishment, destroy king. So they also tells that if the king has greed, arrogance, and lust and punishment, if they inflict punishment on the people, then they will destroy the king itself. In Mahasudasana Sutta, I don't think we shall be able to remember this many sutta. Mahasudasana Sutta, power of overwhelming power can be handled only by treating state as a moral institution. King should be gentle, liberal, noble, modest, and selfless. Yeah. Three principles given as anika means nothing is permanent, anatta means denial of self, and dukkha means world is full of sorrow. Buddhism believe in four noble truths. That is, first one is world is full of sorrow. Second is ignorance, greed, and hatred is the cause of sorrow. And third one is liberation from sorrow means liberation from the ignorance. Fourth is to liberate from ignorance, follow eightfold path. This is the fourth itself. And what are the eightfold path? Right conduct, right speech, right thinking, right aspiration, right beliefs, right efforts, right contemplation and meditation, and right source of livelihood. So we shall not be able to remember so many things. So fourth one is the eightfold path to liberate from the ignorance. If it is remembered, then it's okay. Hinduism versus Buddhism. Hinduism, this worldly, Buddhism is otherworldly, more focus on otherworldly. I think Hinduism is both focus on this worldly and otherworldly, both. The Hinduism goes for monarchy, Buddhism goes for republic. Hinduism is more like a realist kind of thought. Buddhism is more kind of idealist. Hinduism focus on geopolitics. Buddhism focus on renunciation. Winner of heart, winner of land. Rather, first Hinduism winner of land, and in Buddhism it is winner of heart. So in Buddhism, this is king is called as Mahasammat. In Hinduism, it is called as Chakravarti Samrat. Chakravarti, who has to be Vijayvishu.
सर इसको एक बार क्विकली और समराइज कर सकते हैं क्या पूरा अच्छे से, क्योंकि इसमें से बहुत सारे कीवर्ड्स है जो रटने ही पड़ेंगे अपने को अच्छे से, ज्यादा
Yes,
ऑप्शन
sir.
नहीं है.
Yeah. Bhikkhu Parekh had also told that Buddhism is the rebel child of Hinduism. So I am summarizing it. Gail Omovet and Kancha Ilaiah has believed that Buddha can be regarded as political philosopher, but not in conventional sense. Actually, others were not regarding him as political philosopher. So anyhow, Gail Omovet and Kancha Ilaiah is trying to do that. He gives the example that.
Sir, I want to add one thing that many kings at that time when Buddha was there, they used to visit Buddha to know the principle of good governance. Hence, he given some principle to do this or don't do that. That's why I think he's trying to call Buddhism as a Buddhist political thought, right? Or
Yeah, you are 100% right. Exactly. So by giving the examples which you have illustrated, Gail Ombet and Kancha Ilaiah testify this thing. Buddhism is the otherworldly religion known as the Protestantism of East, and it is also referred to as the rebel child of Hinduism by Bhikkhu Parekh. Because it challenges Brahminical tradition, especially caste systems, it can be considered as egalitarian, socialist, republican, rationalist, so many things. Deliberative democracy through organizing councils and debates within sanghas. It gives equal status to women, entry to the women in sanghas. It revolves around Dhamma. Buddhist literature, what is Dhamma? What is Dhamma? It is just like, since in Hinduism we are using the word Dharma, he used the word Dhamma. Again, we shall find that there is no exact translation of word Dhamma in any of the European language. So he has to use
Can
some.
we relate with जो जैसे बुद्धिज्म ये सॉरी मार्क्स करता है ना, अगर लिबरलिज्म डोमिनेंट डिस्कोर्स है एंड दे आर यूजिंग लिबर्टी देन आई यूज फ्रीडम, इट सीम सिमिलर
Yeah,
ना. अगर
yeah,
हिंदुइज्म डोमिनेंट डिस्कोर्स है दे आर यूजिंग दिस थिंग, हम धम्मा कर देंगे उसको, पता नहीं.
yeah. Yeah, actually, if the debate will go like in official manner, among scholars, so obviously there have to be some differences between liberty and freedom as well as in dharma and dhamma. But to understand for ourselves, it is just similar to like that. So because it was rebel child, it was a Protestantism. Because it has also to counter hegemony, build counter hegemony of Brahminism. So it went for those selection of the words. Buddhist literature consists of Jatakas, which give guidelines for the kingship. Other is Ashokan edicts. That's it. And talks about chakra, that mandala, that is Dhamma chakra, to win heart, instead of Hinduist to win land. It is the idea of philosopher king, because king should be a knowledgeable person, aware of duties, devote well-being of the people. Salient feature. Origin of the states, so because of materialism of private property, state came. Qualities of king, origin of king. First origin of a state, then origin of king, Mahasammat, elected by council like republicanism, and not hereditary, and not to be from, not necessarily to be from Kshatriya. Qualities of king, philosopher king, wisdom, having source of knowledge is also source of knowledge. No, having source of knowledge. Knowledge brings morality, and power brings corruption. Buddhist foreign policy. So it believes in peace and non-violence, which we refer in Ashokas. Wins otherwise Dhammachakra. So it is the winner of soul, not the winner of land. Open the core in her book Political Violence in Ancient India. She had analyzed the three major sources to understand the idea of kingship and statecraft. First is Ashwaghosha Buddhacharitam. Second is Ashokavadanam. Third is Jataka. So in Buddha Charitamrita means it has commonality with Hindu texts. Ashwaghosa belongs to Bahusrutiya school, presented Suddhodana as ideal king, the father of Gautam Buddha as the ideal king, who was benevolent and paternalistic. But he loved son more than Dhamma, so there was shortcoming. Little bit shortcoming. Actually, na those Buddhist text might be idolizing his god, their god. So in idolizing their god, they also try to idolize the god's father. And since there was a little bit gap, so it will be filled by their god itself. That is Gautam Buddha. So Ashwaghosa belongs to presented Suddhodana as ideal king, benevolent, paternalistic. Yet he loved son more than Dhamma, and he kills in his pride with the battle of virtue rather than pride itself. I mentioned Buddha is the Sarvat Siddha means मैंने कि अब ये मतलब कि it is expert or the means I don't know the exact word मैंने सिद्ध है वो हर चीज में expert है master है means he is also having karuna निश्चय पराक्रम तेजस आत्मवत्ता. Kingship is dangerous delusion for kingdom is charming yet full of dangers. Means kingship is a dangerous delusion because kingdom is charming yet it is full of dangers. Like golden castle in fire, food mixed with poison, lotus pond filled with crocodile. Hence, rational king prefers to leave his job. सर बोल रहे हैं कि वो उन्होंने छोड़ा है तो अभी रियली वी कैन कनेक्ट इट विथ शुद्धोदन मीन्स गौतम बुद्ध renunciation of his kingdom. Peace and kingship is incompatible, so Buddha left the kingship for the peace. In Ashoka Vadana, there is Buddha is a renouncer. Ashoka is better example of king addresses the Priyadasi Devanam Priya. King should serve humanity, promote toleration among different religions, forbid cruelty towards animals, send messenger of peace, follow policy of non-aggression towards neighbor. Third one is Jataka. And now heterogeneous political discourse in Buddhism, Buddhist text overemphasize on compassion. So what is it? Is a heterogeneous political discourse in Buddhism? In Agana Sutta, we see that greed, arrogance, lust, punishment destroy the king. In Mahasudasana Sutta, we see power of overwhelming power can be handled only by treating state as a moral institution. King should be gentle, liberal, noble, modest, and selfless. He gives three principles. That is the three basic principles of Buddhism. That is Anika, Anatta, Dukkha. Anika means nothing is permanent. Anatta means denial of self. Dukkha means world is full of sorrow. And Buddhists believe in four noble truths. World is full of sorrow, ignorance is a source of sorrow, liberation from ignorance means liberation from sorrow. To liberate from ignorance, follow eightfold path. That itself is a fourth truth. Right conduct, right speech, right thinking, right aspiration, right beliefs, right efforts, right contemplation and meditation, and so right source of livelihood. So here we can think so many right things. We can easily apply in our ethics paper. Our conduct should be right, our speech should be right, our thinking and contemplation should be right, our aspiration should also be right, just like our means and ends. So we shall see the continuum of ends and means, which we observe in Gandhi, and our beliefs should be right, our efforts should be right, our contemplation and meditation should be right, and our source of livelihood should also be right. So we should be right in every aspect. That's it. Hinduism versus Buddhism. So Hinduism, this worldly, believes in monarchy, believes in realist, believes in geopolitics. Buddhism believes in otherworldly, republic, idealist, and renunciation. Winner of the soul. Buddhism king is called Mahasamata. In Hinduism, king is called Chakravarti Samrat.
Important is this topic
What? I couldn't get you, sir.
How important is this topic? Question number one. And second question is, how much more should we read or research on this topic?
I think we should not read more than that. What is the means political philosophy, and rather than we should focus on the theory of a state according to Buddhist political thought. Here we shall define origin of a state, origin of kingship, and the character of kingship. What should be there, and their comparison with the Hinduist text. That's it. And another importance is that it heavily applies in GS4 and can be applied in essay. These are the importance of this topic. And since it is a part of Indian political thought, which is ancient, in ancient political thought, so these are there. Whenever we have to write on the Indian political thought or evolution, so we shall have to use this.
I'll just scroll the screen. और किसी को भी कुछ important लग रहा है तो बता देना, ठीक है?
Buddha advised his followers to refrain from extremes and always follow the middle path to mitigate their suffering. So actually Buddha was trying to alleviate the suffering. He didn't give any grand idea of justice. It was told by Amartya Sen itself. And Buddha used Madhyam Marg, that is middle path. So just like Aristotle's golden mean theory. And if anybody follow the eightfold path, one will eventually attain the enlightenment or the nirvana. That is the state of liberation of the soul from the passions and frustrations of ordinary living. It also uses social contract. In Hinduism, it was like a quasi-social contract, but in Buddhism, it was like a social contract itself. In Buddhist view of the origin of a state stands in sharp contrast to the Hindu theory of Matsya, which held that king was created to control an unbearable state of affairs. But in Buddhism, we saw the struggle for existence before the formation of the state as a manifestation of man's ignorance rather than his innate depravity. Means here Buddhists focus on the ignorance because of the lack of knowledge or ignorance. We should not use the word lack of knowledge. Because of man's ignorance, they were under the deprivation. So to come out of that, it formed the state and it created the king. That is Mahasammat. It is sometimes alleged that Arthashastra focus on the statecraft which tend to subordinate ethics to politics, whereas Buddhist tradition does not compromise the primacy of ethics over politics. Buddhist model of political governance was largely derived from the rules and procedures prescribed for the management of the monastic community. Before Buddha, law was treated as something divinely ordained. The king was regarded to be the guardian of law, not empowered to change it. Man was expected to live for the observance of that law. It was Buddha who introduced the concept of legislation in ancient India, which implied that law could be made or modified for the welfare of man. So in Hinduism, we saw that there was already a law given by Manusmriti, which can't be changed. Even the king had to enter that. But in Buddha, means the concept of legislation arose. Means now the law could be made or modified as well for the welfare of man. So Buddha initiated a silent revolution in the religious sphere to fight against social injustice, particularly in the sphere of caste discrimination as well as gender discrimination. Later, later Ambedkar will told that Karl Marx's idea of a religion is opium for masses by telling that Karl Marx must not have studied all the religion, because religion is the nourishment of the soul, especially the Buddhist religion. B.R. Ambedkar significantly observed, I prefer Buddhism because it gives three principles in combination, which no other religion does. Buddhism teaches understanding against superstition and supernaturalism. It teaches love and compassion and equality. This is what man wants for a good and happy life. Mahatma Gandhi, the father of nations, sought to revive Buddha's message of ahimsa, that is non-violence, as weapon to fight against injustice. Gandhi declared Buddha never rejected Hinduism but broadened its base. He gave it a new life and new interpretation. It is high time to integrate Buddhist ethics with the general framework of modern ethics. So here it is a comparison given, broad streams of ancient Indian political thought. There are four concerns of religious primary concerns: view on the origin of the state or state of the sovereign. So in Dharma Shastra, in Arth Shastra and Buddhist tradition, so we shall observe one by one. With respect to religious base, Dharma Shastra is based on Hinduism, Arth Shastra is based on Hinduism, Buddhist tradition is based on Buddhism. Primary concerns of Dharma Shastra was to pursuit of Dharma, and Arth Shastra tradition's prime concern was to pursuit of Earth. Means Earth should be means to achieve the other three purusharth, Dharma, Kam and Moksha. Buddhist tradition's primary concern was ethical principles, means elevation from the elevations of the suffering. Issue view on the origin of the state, Dharma Shastra goes for divine origin, Arth Shastra goes for practical necessity, and Buddhist tradition goes for social contract. With respect to the status of the sovereign, Dharma Shastra goes the representative, that was representative of God itself. Arth Shastra tells that it was appointed to provide protection and secure welfare of the people, like Hobbes or Locke. Buddhist tradition, the status of the sovereign is chosen by the people for their protection and maintenance of the law and order. That's it, sir.
Interesting लग रही है. Before Buddha, the law was treated as something divinely ordained. The king was regarded to be guardian of law, not empowered to change it. Man was expected to live for observance of that law. It was Gautam Buddha who introduced the concept of legislation in ancient India, which implied that law could be made or modified for the welfare of man. काफी यूनिक थी ना.
Yes, sir.
ये तुमने बताया ना शायद अम्बेडकर का.
Yes, sir.
ऊपर का कुछ बचा है क्या ये इसमें से? रूल्स ऑफ गुड कंडक्ट में आई थिंक ये तो हो गया. As UN Ghoshal, History of Political Ideas, has rightly argued, for a while Arthashastra teachers were inspired by their avowed end of ensuring security and prosperity of the state to condone, if not to justify, breaches of morality in its interest. Buddhism, with its stern and unbending code of ethics, stood for the unqualified supremacy of the moral law over governmental affairs. Can somebody summarize this? क्या कहना चाह रहे हैं UN घोषाल? बेसिकली वही कह रहा है कि अर्थशास्त्र में इथिक्स को ज्यादा प्रायोरिटी नहीं दी. दे गिव प्रायोरिटी टू स्टेट क्राफ्ट ओवर इथिक्स. whereas it was बुद्धिस्ट ट्रेडिशन जिन्होंने एथिक्स को बचा के रखा है, कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं करने दिया। ऐसा ही कुछ है ना?
एग्जैक्टली।
हाँ, ये सही बोल रहे हैं कि बुद्धिज्म में मॉरल लॉज को सुप्रीमेसी दी है लीगलिटी के ऊपर।
ठीक है, ऑल राइट। ये भी देख लो एक बार। ये Buddhist view of origin of state stands in sharp contrast to Hindu theory of Matsya Nyaya, which held that king was created to control an unbearable state of affairs. According to Manusmriti, Kautilya's Arthashastra and Mahabharata, when there is no ruler to wield power of punishment on earth, the strong would devour the weak like fishes in water. The stronger fish preying upon the feebler. Broadly speaking, Hindu theory of government was based on a belief in the innate depravity of man. On the contrary, Buddhism saw the struggle for existence before the formation of the state as manifestation of man's ignorance rather than his innate depravity. It held that man was ever ready to live in peace and amity with his fellow beings, to cooperate with them, even to sacrifice himself for the sake of his fellow beings, provided he was properly guided. Buddha argued that man could be controlled more effectively by self-understanding and inward discipline rather than by discipline imposed from the above by an external authority. अगर इसको कंपेयर करना हो ना, तो इंडियन सॉरी जो हिंदू स्कूल ऑफ थॉट है मनुस्मृति वगैरह का, दैट इज क्लोजर टू मैकियावेली एंड हॉब्स। वेरस जो बुद्धिस्ट वाला थॉट है, जो ये रीजन इन मैन वाला स्कूल ऑफ थॉट नहीं है, लॉक वाला, उससे कंपेयर कर सकते हैं हम। इंसान इनहेरेंटली अच्छा होता है, वो एक दूसरे से झगड़ा नहीं करते हैं, दे विल लिव इन कोऑपरेशन विद ईच अदर, उनको बस गाइडेंस की जरूरत है। और ये जो फिशेस इन वाटर वाला था ना, वो चीज आई थिंक हॉब्स वाले से लिंक कर सकते हैं या मैकियावेली से। कैन वी आर्ग्यू कि दीज आर द व्यूज अबाउट स्टेट ऑफ नेचर, दोनों भी स्कूल ऑफ थॉट के?
कह
बोथ
सकते हैं,
वेर गोइंग।
मतलब एग्जैक्टली स्टेट ऑफ नेचर तो नहीं, लेकिन हाँ मतलब कि स्टेट या फिर एज अ कम्युनिटी कैसी है पर्सन की, तो या मतलब इन अदर वर्ड्स वी कैन, अगर कभी कंपैरिजन आता तो वी कैन मेंशन इट कि इस थॉट के स्टेट ऑफ नेचर के व्यूज ऐसे थे।
Sir, it's about nature of a human being or individual.
है कि it follows that Buddhist account of origin of state is substantially similar to Western theory of social contract. And social contract में scholars क्या करते हैं? First they study the human nature, then they see human nature in state of nature जहाँ पे there is no authority of punishment। यहाँ पे वो भी लिखा है ना कि जब पावर ऑफ पनिशमेंट नहीं है, कोई भी जो स्टेट नहीं है, तब कैसे बिहेव करते हैं। ठीक है, फिर एक और ये लाइन इंटरेस्टिंग लगी। इन बुद्धिस्ट लिटरेचर द सॉरेन इज डिस्क्राइब्ड बाय थ्री स्टैंडिंग फ्रेजेस। महाजन सम्मता, द वन हु इज चोजन बाय द मल्टीट्यूड। ये किंग वाला हो गया ना ये।
Sir.
इट लुक्स लाइक इट्स सिमिलर टू महासम्मता विच वी जस्ट सॉ इन नोट्स। तो महाजन सम्मता रिपब्लिक की तरह चूज करते हैं, इलेक्टेड हेड काइंड ऑफ। फिर क्षत्रिय, और संस्कृत में क्षत्रिय, द वन हु इज लॉर्ड ऑफ द फील्ड्स, and Raja, one who gratifies the others in accordance with Dhamma. Can somebody explain this? What is Raja?
हेलो सर।
आएगा इसके ऊपर। हेलो, इज एनीबॉडी हियर अलाइव?
यस सर।
Yes.
यस सर।
यार मुझे लग रहा है ना, ये जो अपन बुक देख रहे हैं इसमें इट्स क्वाइट वेरी नाइसली गिवन, मतलब 4-5 पेजेस का ही है। ये सिर्फ इंट्रो दिया हुआ है, स्टार्टिंग में क्या है, इथिकल फाउंडेशंस क्या है दिया है, पॉलिटिकल पर्सपेक्टिव दिया है, ओरिजिन दिया है, सोशल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट बताया, देन रूल्स ऑफ गुड कंडक्ट है, मॉडल ऑफ गवर्नेंस एंड कंक्लूजन। ये 5-6 पेजेस अपने को आराम से पढ़ने चाहिए बाद में, ज़्यादा नहीं है, 6-7 पेजेस ही है। वी शुड डेफिनेटली गो एंड रीड इट। जो ये सोशल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट वाला कहानी आया है ना, जो मुझे समझ आ गया ओरिजिन ऑफ स्टेट के बारे में, वो ये कह रहे हैं कि अकॉर्डिंग टू दीघा निकाय, जो दीघा निकाय बुक है, वहां पे ऐसा बताया है कि नॉर्मल जब लोग जी रहे हैं, सपोज नॉर्मली ऐसे जी रहे हैं, तो राइस का कंजम्पशन हो रहा है, सब लोग राइस बना रहे हैं अपना, तो हर कोई अपने सेफ्टी के लिए अपने अपने राइस को बचा के अपने घर में स्टोर कर रहे हैं। लेकिन कोई ग्रीडी इंसान क्या करेगा, वो उसके खाने के लिए तो 10 किलो लगेगा, बट ही विल ट्राई टू एक्वायर मोर एंड मोर। जो थियोरी है ना रियलिज्म में, पावर सीकिंग है, फिर हॉब्स वाला थियोरी है, तो ऐसा कोई होगा ग्रीडी इंसान जो भाई सब कुछ रख लेगा, सो होर्डिंग करेगा राइस का। देन व्हाट विल हैपन, सम पीपल विल गो एंड टेल हिम कि भाई तू ऐसा मत कर, बाकी लोग खाने को नहीं मिल रहा है। देन ही विल से हाँ हाँ, एंड देन ही विल अगेन डू इट, सो ही विल स्टार्ट लाइंग अबाउट इट। फिर से कुछ लोग जाके बोलेंगे, तो वो मारपीट करेगा, थोड़ा सा वायलेंस यूज करेगा, गुंडागर्दी करेगा। तो इसीलिए 4 डिफरेंट इविल बताया यहाँ पे, थेफ्ट, सेंशर, लाइंग एंड वायलेंस। तो ये जो 4 इविल है, इसको कम करने के लिए वो क्या करेंगे कि कोई ऐसे इंसान को बिठाएंगे जो राजा की तरह काम करे, जो किंग की तरह काम करे। तो ये यहाँ पे सॉरेंटी वाली थियरी आती है कि महाजनसम्मता, खट्टिया एंड राजा। मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है यार, महाजनसम्मता जो है वो किंग की तरह होगा, खट्टिया मतलब जो वॉरियर टाइप का नहीं होता ऐसे, क्षत्रिय मतलब वो करेज वाला पॉइंट, प्लाटो वाला लिंक करना हो। और अगर जो धम्मा वाला है, वो रिलीजियस हेड काइंड ऑफ हो गया, इथिकल प्रिंसिपल बनाने वाला।
तीनों टाइटल्स एक ही पर्सन के लिए कन्वे कर रहे हैं कि ये कहना चाह रहे हैं कि इस गवर्नमेंट में सब पे 3 लो होने चाहिए, या फिर ये एक ही पर्सन के 3 डायमेंशन बताएंगे?
कैनॉट से यार, क्वालिटीज हो सकती है, क्वालिटीज बताई हो।
थोड़ा सा देखते हैं, क्योंकि ये कंफ्यूजिंग पॉइंट लग रहा है कि ये जो 3 चीजें हैं, अभी तक हम लोग पहले रेफर कर रहे थे, तो किंग को महाजन सम्मत करके ही बोल रहे थे ना कि अब यहाँ पे इन्होंने 3 चीजें बताई हैं, तो व्हाट डू दे वांट टू से कि ये तीनों एक ही पर्सन के 3 अलग अलग फेस होने चाहिए, कि ये 3 अलग अलग
मुझे लग रहा है ना, ये एक ही पर्सन की 3 क्वालिटीज लग रहे हैं। देखो ना, इन बुद्धिस्ट
है ना?
लिटरेचर द सॉरेन इज डिस्क्राइब्ड बाय 3 स्टैंडिंग फ्रेजेस, फ्रेज है ये, मतलब डिस्क्रिप्शन दिया है 3 अलग अलग वे में।
यानी ये एक ही जो मतलब इनका जो किंग होगा, या फिर जो थ्योरी ऑफ स्टेट है, तो जो पर्सन है, तो उसके ये 3 साइड्स होने चाहिए, ये मतलब है ना?
3 कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स बोल सकते हैं ना।
हाँ बिल्कुल।
बाकी लोग कुछ सुन भी रहे हैं, क्या कहना चाह रहे हैं, कुछ बोलोगे?
सर वो तो स्टेट में सोवरेनिटी लाने के लिए किया जा रहा है ना, वो 3 फ्रेजेस जो दिए हुए हैं।
देखो, सॉरेन को डिफाइन कर रहे हो, मतलब सॉरेन कैसा होगा तो ऐसा होगा,
क्या?
है ना। मतलब जो किंग होगा वो कैसे होगा, या फिर स्टेट होगी वो कैसे होनी चाहिए। उस टाइम पे तो
बिल्कुल
स्टेट का
बिल्कुल।
ऑब्वियसली कंसेप्ट था नहीं ना।
तो ये 3 कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स ही मान लीजिए बस।
हाँ, ठीक है। एंड बाकी तो अपन ने देख ही लिया, कंक्लूजन वगैरह, लेजिस्लेशन वाला पॉइंट काफी बढ़िया था, नेहरू जी और अम्बेडकर का पॉइंट देखा अपन ने, महात्मा गांधी ने अप्लाई करा उनको थोड़े बहुत, and ये कंपेरिजन दिया हुआ है। आई वुड से यार ये 5-6 पेजेस पढ़ने चाहिए। व्हेन वी गो बैक होम टुडे वी शुड रीड इट। शुड वी मूव ऑन सर? दशरथ सर?
यस सर।
अभी ठीक है, ठीक है, जस्ट अ सेकंड, आई विल स्टॉप द रिकॉर्डिंग। विल स्टार्ट ऑफ विद नेक्स्ट टॉपिक, राइट, सैयद अहमद खान वाला।
ओके सर।
Okay. All right, guys. Thank you.